Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are back in the Conqueror. And we are going to be having a heck of a run with our Conqueror today. I've got some pretty interesting fights to show you guys. One of them is going to showcase the Spartan effect in full effect. So, hopefully you guys are ready. This one's going to be a good one. And it's a double feature of the Conqueror. What more could you want, right? So, yeah, we're on Land of Fire in the first one. This one is the one that everybody just has to kill me. They have to. It's in the rulebook. You see Spartan, you have to throw your ship away to try to kill him. And so, get ready. The beginnings of this fight, I'm not going to lie, are rough. And I don't think there's another battleship out there that would have survived the initial 3 minutes of this match. So, yeah. With that up there, with all of the hype around that, let's see what happens, shall we? It's going to be a good one. We're going to push up right off the bat. I'm going to head toward the right. Knowing that they like to spawn legendary ships across from one another, I'm pretty sure that there's a Yami across from me. Ochakov gets spotted first here. Obviously I'm firing HE because that's what I fire most of the time out of the Conqueror. So I go ahead, load the armor piercing in preparation for a chance to shoot Ochakov. Now our destroyer, to his credit, dropping a smokescreen for our cruiser. I don't know how much it'll help me, but if anything, it'll keep me from being spotted until I shoot at something. So there's that. Now, obviously, I have to rush a shot on the Ochakov, only getting spotted for like half a second each time. Again, Wargaming said that they fixed this a long time ago. They've never fixed it. The game has always had this issue where people just pop in and out of existence for half a second. But whatever. We're used to it, right? So, Yami's out there mostly broadsides. We're going to go ahead and try to get some shots. I know he's slightly angled to me. A lot of people give me flack for that. They're like, oh, Spartan, you always say everybody's flat broadside when you can look on the map, they're angled to you right now. I'm like, I get it. But the thought of a broadside ship is when somebody's showing literally their entire length of their ship. That, to me, is broadside, because that gives me more chances to hit you and do damage. Yeah, I may not always citadel you, but that's not always what I'm looking for. It's always nice when it happens, but not always the thing. Now, we've got a destroyer out here dropping torps on us. And from the looks of it, it appears to have hit our cruiser, potentially. Just a weird gap in torpedoes. Maybe it's a British destroyer launching 2x2. I'm not sure. But as you can see, everybody's starting to shoot me. We've got a Cleveland, we've got a Hipper, we've got the Yami, we've got the Ochakov, we've got a Vladdy over there heading our direction. Like, everybody is starting to work on us. We're already using our first heal. And the reason for that is I knew that we were about to be just absolutely pummeled, and so I was trying to get as much health healed back initially as possible, while also trying to push up to the island in front so that I can protect myself and limit who we shoot, or who's able to shoot us. Now, we already smashed the Cleveland once, and we're about to do it again, finally getting rid of one of the fire starters here, getting him out of the board. Now, we've got the Vladdy pushing over. We've got the Hipper out there. Again, when it comes down to ships shooting at you, fire starters are generally my primary targets because they do the most damage and they don't have to, like, you can't angle against it. They're going to just keep farming you. So while pushing up to the island ahead of me to limit the Ochakov being able to shoot me, I'm at the same time trying to work on getting rid of the Hipper. And we get a pretty solid hit on the Hipper right off the bat. Now, we're finally getting up next to the island. Now, the problem with being this close to an island in a battleship is, yes, you're able to limit who can shoot you. But at the same time, you're also limiting yourself at what you can shoot it back. Now, we tried to get a shot there. Of course, it glitches through the island. But as soon as that happens, it makes the shot inert. It doesn't actually do anything. So that's how you know, like, when you get those shots that you just go straight through a target and you're like, oh my god, this is so stupid, what's going on? Think about where you're at on the map. Look at maybe the island next to you. You're probably shooting through the island. And that's a glitch that they know exists and they can't fix. It's more difficult to fix the problem than it is to, it doesn't cause any issues. Maybe it's frustrating for the person shooting, but we get 2 fires right there on the Vladdy. He's going to damage con that immediately. Which is fine with me, because that just means next fire is going to be a perma-fire. Now, we were down to 11,000 health, and we're getting ready to print out another ship. And we still got 2 more of them to go. That's the beauty of the Conqueror. If you can survive the initial, complete obliteration of everybody trying to get you, if you can survive and get those heals, it's GG. They don't get the heal that you do, so you can just absolutely play the war of attrition, okay? They're not going to be able to kill you as fast as you can them. I apologize if I keep yawning. It's morning, I'm trying to get this video out. But we get back out there, we've got another fire. This one's going to be a perma-fire. It's not as long on a Russian battleship, unless, of course, he's already burned all of his damage cons, in which case he's in a world of trouble. But the beauty of it is we're not going to have to worry too much about him, because he's battle tanking us, he's angled really well, but the Conqueror doesn't care. This is the problem with the Conqueror. This is what makes the Conqueror so incredibly broken. You don't have to care. Now, obviously, we shattered our rounds that time, hitting a little too low, getting into that belt armor. Want to hit the deck, want to hit up on the upper plating on the sides of the ship, if possible. You get some good penetrations in our armor. Remember, the Conqueror's not particularly well armored. It doesn't have a lot of hit points either. So, battleships can and will chunk the Conqueror. Now, obviously, we know that the Vladdy's about to go down. We've got Hipper still out here. We've got Ochakov now far enough out that he's starting to lob the island on us and get hits. So we're going to try to get away from him and get out here to where we can start getting rid of the Hipper, potentially getting rid of the Ochakov. Now, you'll notice that the enemy is in our cap. He's been in the cap for a while. And our team is going to do the right thing. Look at everybody on my team right now, except me. Everybody on my team is going back to defend the cap. There are 2 guys in the cap. This is a huge play by my team and absolutely wins the game. Cleveland finishes off Ashima. That leaves 1 guy in the cap and my entire team converging on it. Now, while everybody else is converging on the cap to defend the cap, I am still out here keeping these guys from shooting them, okay? I've got the Hipper, I've got the Ochakov, I've got Yami shooting at me from the base. We finish off the Hipper finally. And now we get to work on the Ochakov. Now, anybody who's ever tried to shoot a kiting cruiser at any sort of range knows it can be a gigantic pain in the butt. The moves that they make at that range to avoid your shots, there's nothing you can do about it. You could be the best shot in the world. It's very difficult to hit them at distance. You have to close that distance. And it helps when they make the mistakes to help you close that distance. Like here, I fire at him, he sees the shots coming, he turns in, he avoids it by miles. There's nothing I can do. It's not that I'm a particularly bad shot, it's just dude is paying attention. When he sees me fire, he starts moving. And it's a very easy thing to do in a kiting cruiser. However, he does make the wrong move here in starting to come towards me. Now, he also goes full broadside, just absolutely begging for it at 12 kilometers away, and this shot is on the money. You cannot assume that the person that's shooting at you is going to miss. You have to avoid. And because he had just made 1 big turn to the inside, and then made another big turn to the opposite side, he lost a lot of his normal speed that he was carrying. And so that is inevitably what ends up finishing him. You lose that speed in a kiting cruiser, you lose your ability to dodge. And every movement you make in succession is becoming less and less effective. So keep that in mind if you're in a kiting cruiser. You have to be aware of keeping your speed up so that you're not slowing down so much that you are becoming dev-struck very quickly. If that makes sense. Now, we're up to 127,000 damage. Our team has wrapped up killing the guys in the base and are now focusing on going after these 2 Yamis. And these two Yamis, I mean, they should be ashamed of themselves. Like, you got two Yamis that were full health. This guy was full health a moment ago, and the other guy was full health as well. You can't sit in the back the entire game and watch your team just get obliterated. You have all of the firepower in the world, and you just watched your team get obliterated. That is the issue with battleships that sit in the back. There's ways that you can sit in the back and be effective, but generally speaking, you want to recognize when your team is losing a flank and support that flank as a battleship moving up to take damage and dish it out, looking for crossfires. And when you sit back too long, you just cost your team the game. Because now, you have the entire enemy team shooting at you, and as a battleship, you just can't last that long. You can't dodge a whole lot of rounds. You can try to angle, but then you've got the fire starters whittling you down. You've got a Conqueror that's got your broadside that's loaded armor piercing, so we're getting some really good hits. Like this is how you die very quickly. You can see we're hitting them for 6 to 10k each time with just 2 guns. We load the fronts, we shoot them. We load the rears, we shoot them, and we just keep changing. Now, obviously, Richelieu right here is like, I'm just going to ram the guy. Just going to ram him, which is fine. We end up having a pretty solid game, but that showcased the Spartan effect in full effect. We had literally over half their team come to kill us. We had the Hipper, the Ochakov, the Cleveland, the Vladdy, and the Yami. Yami actually ran away, which helped me out quite a bit. But 5 people on their team, and we got all of the medals to prove it. So 2,658 base XP, second on the leaderboard, and 4 kills. So that was a good team, and that was a lot of fun. Now we're going to showcase the opposite of the Spartan effect. This is the Spartan effect from my side of the coin. What happens when I decide that I am just going to go straight at the enemy? Okay? Now, it doesn't always start that way. There's certain things that when you start a match, you're keying on as a player. Or at least I am, anyway. And one of those things is, who's coming over to my side? Where are the big players in the match? Like, if we're looking for Shimas, if we're looking for Yamis, if we're looking for, you know, anything like that. Those are the players that I'm looking for when they initially get detected. Now, because we have such a long range on this ship, and this is just battleships or long-range cruisers, when you have that long range, one of the bonuses that you get is being able to see people who are spotted further away, right? You can see a lot more of the map. So you can make mental notes of who is where. And that is a huge advantage, because it allows you to know when you have the advantage, okay? And this is something that most people just don't understand. I have been in so many games where just people do not understand that they have an advantage. They refuse to push, okay? And that's the other thing. If you have the advantage, push. Period. There is no other way. If you have the advantage, you push your advantage, okay? Now look how many ships are with us. We have 4 ships with us. That is a 5-ship advantage on this side of the map. Who's against us? We have a Yami out there, we have an Alaska out here, and I believe there is going to be another cruiser out here at some point. So I think it's a 5 versus 3. That is a huge advantage. That's a huge advantage. Look how quickly this Yami is being ripped apart. Not only is this Yami being shot by our team that's right here, but our guys from across the map have an absolute beautiful crossfire on this man and just wrecking him. And so, recognizing this, first of all, we're able to shoot the Yami and stay undetected because of the islands. You'll notice that when I was firing at him initially, I was firing behind the islands so that I didn't get detected. Now he's so close to being dead, I'm going to just go in here, try to finish him off, if he lives long enough for my shells to even get there, which I'm not 100% sure he does. But, looks like he did. We get the first blood medal. Alright, now that the big player, and there's the Siegfried, so there's the 2 cruisers that were over here. The Alaska, the Siegfried, and the Yami. That's a lot of firepower, okay? That's a lot of firepower. You got Alaska with 305s, you've got the Siegfried with 381s, I think, 381s. 15-inch guns, and then you had the Yami with 18-inch guns. But now that the Yami's gone, the biggest threat to me is gone. I can deal with cruisers, no problem. There is another Yami out there heading in our direction. but it's a little too late for it. So I'm looking in the center of the map. We've got a destroyer getting another destroyer spotted. And I believe it's a Shima versus a Fletcher. That Fletcher will absolutely wreck the Shima. It's not even funny. So we got to be careful here. We'll try to hit this Fletcher. Any shot from a Conqueror or any other battleship firing HE, like any shot that hits a destroyer with HE from a battleship is devastating. Even if it's just a single round. That's usually, a single round is usually 4,000 HP gone from a destroyer. So keep that in mind. Like, never just don't shoot at them. Destroyers are always priority targets. Now we get 2 fires on the Yami doing a stupid amount of damage. 8 hits out of the freaking 12 guns that we have, and we just absolutely wreck them. Now those fires are still going, or at least they were. He just did damage convict, so it's not on fire anymore. But I mean, it's a Conqueror. Every 26 seconds we're gonna have the next shot loaded, and that's generally more fires on the table. And wait for it. Okay, no fires. 2 shatters. Alright, well, rear turrets. Give them the old rear turret of justice. Now, while we're focusing the Yami because he's the bigger threat, the cruisers that are behind the island are getting pummeled by my team to my left. So we're spreading out. We're able to keep a lot of people on the retreat. Their Fletcher survived for now. Their Yami is full on retreat. Their Siegfried and their Alaska are trying to get away. Siegfried's at a distance, so he's definitely trying to get away. And then the Alaska here he's got himself into trouble. He's not going to be able to get away. He's trying to hide behind the island. I'm encroaching on him. Initially, we've got good shots at the Siegfried out here. We've got the AP loaded, so I'm looking for good things out of it. And it looks beautiful. And we get a good solid hit. Absolutely punched him. Now, it's at this moment that the Alaska decides to reverse out in front of people, or pull out in front of people. I guess he's reversing back into the island. But what is your thought process here? You get a little bit of damage and you just get absolutely wrecked. So he gets a shot, maybe 2 shots before everybody finishes him off. Now, it was his fault for putting himself in that position. He saw us pushing. Like, we've been pushing for basically the entire game on this flank. And now's where we've got to start looking at how we're going to limit the team and what they're capable of doing as far as kiting away. Siegfried's in full retreat mode. He's all the way out there. He's getting ready to start border humping. My teammates are getting some very, very juicy shots on these guys, helping get rid of them. We get basically nothing. We get a penetration for nothing and 3 ricochets on a Siegfried. But that showcases the armor piercing of the Conqueror at a distance. It doesn't have the best penetration angles. It is very good armor piercing, don't get me wrong. But against armor, it's not the best, especially at range. So keep that in mind in your Conqueror. If you get close range shots, especially at broadside ships, take it. 30, 40,000 damage easy. If you're up against cruisers, it's usually deletions, because it is still British armor piercing, and it is still very, very good at removing cruisers. So keep that in mind. But you've seen the videos that I posted during the test, and we get that absolutely beautiful dispersion with the HE, and it fell on the deck. That's a wrap. Now, up to this point, our teams have traded pretty well. We have an absolute steamroll occurring for the enemy team right now. There's nothing that they can do about it. Yami gets spotted again. He has decided, okay, I've gotten away from the Conqueror. I'm going to start charging these guys and maybe be able to get my bow in and do some damage before I die. Not a bad play by the Yami. I like the spirit of it, but at the same time, you're just delaying the inevitable for a little longer. Now, if he's able to remove a cruiser, maybe 2 cruisers, in this amount of time, then he's absolutely just saved his team a lot of effort and could potentially turn this battle around. The problem is, he's actually the reason that his team is getting steamrolled so badly. Him and the other Yami. The Yami is a knockout artist. That's what it does. It has the ability to overmatch everybody's bow armor in the game, with the exception of the Tirpitz and the Bismarck and the Grosse Kerfers. Okay? Tirpitz, Bismarck, Grosse Kerfers, their belt armor on the bow is just too thick. You cannot overmatch it with anything in this game currently. But everything else can be overmatched. Everything else has 32 millimeters or less, which means 16-inch guns don't overmatch it, but the 18-inch guns, the 460 millimeter guns of the Yami, do. And those, that's the other thing that I want to bring up. If at any point we get the 18-inch guns of the Ohio, we get the 18-inch guns of the Thunderer, anything like that in the future, they do not overmatch everything like the Yami, because they are only 457 millimeter guns, whereas the Yami is 460 millimeters. And you need at least 459 millimeters to overmatch the 32 millimeters of armor, I believe. Somebody will do the math. I might be wrong by a millimeter or two, just whatever. I'm going by memory, guys. I'm literally trying to pull out memory. But we have pushed their team all the way out. We've captured this base on our way through, got us a solo cap, an assisted cap, and now we are pushing towards the enemy, the last remaining enemy stronghold. There's 2 destroyers out here somewhere. We know that the Fletcher's still alive somewhere, and they have 2 battleships. Now, we still have a lot of cruisers. We got cruisers going back to defend a cap that was taken by the enemy destroyer. And then we've got us battleships pushing up from the south. So now what do we have going? We have a ridiculous crossfire. These guys can go nowhere on the map. Oh, hello. Shot out at the Fletcher. Over the island. Is it going to catch him? It's going to be close. It's going to be close. Nope. Didn't hit him. I think we hit the island. But we tried. And that's what's important. It was aimed well. It just, like I said, I think it hit the island and didn't quite catch him. But either way, he's down. That's one of the 2 destroyers gone. And our cruisers are taking the brunt of the force against these 2 battleships right now. And then that's when the Kaaba comes out. And I believe we get a pretty disgusting shot at this Kaaba. We're already at 150,000 damage, by the way. It's not like we haven't done anything, even though we haven't been shot in this match, really. I don't know why. This is like why I said it's like the opposite of the Spartan effect, because nobody shot me in this match. And pretty good shot right there, destroying torpedo tubes on the Kaaba, getting a fire that's going to absolutely change the way he decides to fight. And our cruisers are still there, but these 2 battleships are what we're worried about. And I was hoping these battleships would back out into us, and that's unfortunately not what they were doing. They were staying away from the battleships, which are us, and focusing down the cruisers. And our cruiser's trying to capture the base, finally does get the base captured, so he's going to be trying to get out of there. The game, it seems to be getting closer. It's a 5v3 at this point, but the enemy is very, very hurt. None of these guys have any hit points left, and as soon as we come around the corner down here, they're done for. They're not going to have a whole lot of time to live after we get there. And on top of that, we're capturing the last base. So we're going to have full cap control on the map. We've got 2 guys left that have no hit points, and they're starting to back out in front of us. Now, we've got the HE loaded here. Wish I had armor piercing loaded. Should have loaded the armor piercing, but doesn't matter. We get pretty solid hit. Got a fire. That's probably going to be a perma-fire, I say as he puts it out. He shoots my belt armor, which he does get a few penetrations. The shots that go wonky and go a little higher, those were the penetrations. But if you shoot the belt on any battleship at this sort of an angle, you're just going to be ricocheting, regardless of what ship you're in. So we're aiming a little higher, and we try to hit up into the upper plating. We actually hit a little low and hit that side plate, or the belt armor, and shatter 6 of our shells on him. And that allows the Yami behind me to finish him off. And that's when we see this Yami here. And again, Yami's looking towards us, I believe, with the rear guns. I can't really tell because our crosshair's right in the way. Nope, never mind. He fired at somebody else. And he gets absolutely removed. And that just goes to show you guys that a team push, a proper team push, wins matches. And I don't understand why more people don't do it. It's a valuable asset to your team. And look at this. Is any of these gonna hit him? Come on!
Problem solved.
No, nope, nope. Not quite. He turned back on himself and kind of got out of the way of those. But he's still not gonna live long. He's got a Suzuki right in front of him. But we did everything we could in this one. Didn't take a whole lot of damage, but 170,000 damage you can't really argue with. And top of the leaderboard with 2,969 base XP with, what, 2 full caps? Or 1 solo cap and 2 assisted caps? So if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.